Greetings, I'm Cheryl, and I'm 36 years old. I've got an interesting story to share with you. It was supposed to be a happy day, a family get-together to celebrate our wedding anniversary. My husband Jeffrey and I thought of inviting some family members to our home. The plan was for Jeffrey and me to spend some time at a spa while our friends and family set up our home for the celebration. It was a sweet idea, but unfortunately my mother-in-law Nancy didn't see it that way. Despite my efforts to have a positive relationship with her, things were always tense. Nancy constantly insulted and belittled me, turning our relationship into a constant battle. On this special day, after getting pampered at the spa, Jeffrey and I were ready to enjoy the festivities at our home with family. I was wary of Nancy's potential drama, but hoped that, at least on our anniversary, things would be different. I was wrong. As we entered our home, there was an uneasy atmosphere. Instead of warm welcomes and celebration, it felt like our friends and family had welcomed aliens. The stares were cold and strange, and upon closer inspection, it seemed they were directed solely at me. The harshest gaze came from none other than my mother-in-law. Trying to lighten the mood, I exclaimed, "Hey everyone! Time to welcome the adorable couple! Nancy, is everything okay? You seem different today. What's going on, everybody? Is no one going to congratulate us on our anniversary?" Nancy responded, "Oh, darling, I wish I could congratulate you, but unfortunately, we can't do that." Surprised, I asked, "Why not?" Nancy accused, "Because Cheryl is a thief, excuse me?" "You listen to me. You're stealing, Mom. What's happening? First, she separated you from me, and now she has claimed this house." I was utterly surprised. What could she possibly be thinking? "Mom, what are you talking about? This is where I live, Jeffrey, and because of that, Cheryl shouldn't be here. What's happening with you? Why are you uttering such a terrible statement?" I expected us to be warmly welcomed to celebrate our anniversary with the community, but obviously I was mistaken. I sensed that your pessimistic vibes would spoil everything. "Stop being so self-absorbed, Cheryl. You don't have the right to be upset. I'm the one who should be expressing more frustration here. Mom, I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but let's discuss this privately, please." "No, don't bother. I've already shared everything with the people here. I told them the complete truth and they agree with me. They believe this house belongs to me, just as you assured me, Jeffrey. I can clarify all of this, Cheryl. Trust me." "What is there to clarify?" "This house is rightfully mine, and as the owner, I need to set some rules here. Cheryl, you are no longer welcome in my house. What does this mean? You have 3 choices. I'm giving you a serious choice. You can either leave this house right now or go through with a divorce and return my son to me. The decision is yours." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could she be so unkind? I looked at Jeffrey with confusion, but he returned a similarly puzzled expression. "Listen, Mom, I want to salvage this day, okay? It's meant to be a joyful celebration, and I don't want your behavior to spoil it." "Behavior? Oh, come on. We only have the photographers and caterers here for a short time. Let's all calm down, enjoy the moment, and perhaps after we have some nice pictures and good food, we can discuss this more calmly." Even with tensions already running high, and it seemed like Nancy and I were on the verge of a WWE SmackDown moment, I was grateful that Jeffrey worked hard to calm things down. He was correct. The professionals we hired were costly, and we couldn't afford any delays, especially with Nancy's disruptive outbursts. We went outside to appreciate the beautiful surroundings, adorned with our wedding colors as a reminder of that special day. The photographer aimed to capture joyful moments of us playing games, eating, and bonding. However, upon reviewing the pictures, there was almost always a scowling Nancy, casting a shadow on the otherwise joyous atmosphere. As the night progressed, Nancy's real personality emerged with cold stares and rude comments. Though she had always been a bit distant, tonight it reached new heights. I couldn't understand why I was receiving such treatment, but I heeded my husband's suggestion and attempted to salvage a pleasant evening. Despite the initial awkwardness, our friends and family started to relax and enjoy the festivities. Yet Nancy continued to show no interest. The celebration eventually came to an end, and as the hired staff packed up, it was clear that the earlier debacle had shortened the event. In the face of difficulties, Jeffrey and I worked hard to rescue the good parts of the evening. All things considered, I managed to have a fairly okay time given the situation. Now it was crucial to tackle the obvious issue. Stepping forward, I took the lead in addressing the elephant in the room with Nancy. "Nancy, I've been trying to connect with you. I've extended invitations and made an effort to spend time together, but it seems like you're constantly pushing me away. What have I done to deserve this unfriendliness?" "You seem to be missing the point, Cheryl. Let me clarify. My son got this house for me, not for you. You were never meant to be involved with our family." As I processed her hurtful words, memories rushed in of all the instances when Nancy's unfriendly attitude had affected us. The sarcastic remarks, the undermining comments. She consistently made it clear that she viewed me as an outsider, an intruder in her son's life. Now she thinks the house is hers, allowing her to do whatever she wants. However, a crucial element was absent from the puzzle: Jeffrey. Nancy kept claiming that Jeffrey acquired this house for her, so we had to include him. Both Nancy and I gestured to Jeffrey, who was deeply engaged in conversation with relatives, likely trying to handle the aftermath of today's events. He joined us, initiating a surprising sequence of events. "Mom, we need to discuss what went down today. That was not cool." "What are you talking about? You clearly told me this house belongs to me. I have no memory of saying that, Jeffrey, and you're aware of it." "That night you had a bit too much to drink, but I'm sure you recall. You mentioned that this house belonged to me, and I had the freedom to do as I pleased with it." "Once again, Mom, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Why would I ever offer you ownership of this house?" "Well, maybe because you care about me?" "Of course, I care about you, Mom. However, the way you embarrassed us this morning on our anniversary was not acceptable. Let's not argue. Do you believe you have a say, especially when it comes to my property? I could involve the authorities and have you removed for trespassing. It's a choice between you leaving or us going through a divorce. Why are you so determined to kick her out, even if it were your house, which it isn't? What's driving this strong desire to see her gone?" "Because she repulses me. I can't stand having her around. You don't want me around? Fine, I'll gather my belongings, dear." "Hold on, no. I've had enough of waiting. Jeffrey, you're also responsible for this. I don't understand what your mother is going on about, but it appears you played a considerable part in making her feel entitled like this. What's worse, you've been silent about the mistreatment I've faced, and you haven't taken any action." "What are you saying? What should I do now?" "End ties with her, obtain a restraining order." "You believe it's easy to rid yourself of me. You think Jeffrey would betray his mother like that. You must be out of your mind. Go, pack your things as you suggested, quickly." I stormed away, angered by the unfortunate turn my life had taken. I had a challenging mother-in-law and a clueless husband. Maybe this was a hidden blessing because I desperately needed to break free once and for all. As I stepped into the house, the pain and shame from years of mistreatment overwhelmed me. My spirits sank. That woman truly despised me, and I couldn't fathom why. I had invested my heart and soul into this marriage, striving to build a foundation of unity and love. And now she presented me with this absurd ultimatum. As someone who firmly opposes divorce, considering that option was incredibly difficult, especially when it seemed easier to just leave her house. I was fed up with all the commotion. I needed to go, if only to salvage whatever peace remained in this space. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I packed my things. It promised to be a night of tears and packing, but I was determined to finish quickly, so I wouldn't have to endure that woman's presence any longer. Heading to the study, I gathered all my documents, books, and files. When I stumbled upon the house deed, I was taken aback. I wondered why it was left out so casually and carelessly, but I was grateful it was. As I perused the documents, I discovered something quite intriguing. I halted my packing, realizing this was far too important. Outside, I found Jeffrey and Nancy still locked in an argument. "I still have no idea what you're talking about, Mom. I never transferred ownership of this house to you." "Oh? Then why do the papers show something else?" "What papers?" From a distance, I observed Nancy rifling through her purse without success. "Are you searching for these?" I displayed the documents, announcing my presence. She scowled, but I responded with an intensified glare. While I typically maintained a pleasant demeanor, I was no longer playing the role of the amiable guy. It was time for me to assert my rightful claim. After thoroughly examining the documents, there was no evidence indicating she owned the house. In fact, the papers only bore Jeffrey's and my names. "What? That can't be," Jeffrey assured me. "Whatever he told you was evidently incorrect because I have the authentic papers right here. Go ahead, check for yourself. Read it and accept the reality." Nancy abruptly seized the documents from my hands, scanning them intensely in search of any trace of her name. Unfortunately, she was mistaken. There was no mention of her anywhere. Suddenly, she didn't feel well, and this sentiment was shared by the remaining guests at the event. Surprise crossed her face. Her eyes rolled back and she lost her balance, fainting and hitting the ground hard. Gasps filled the air as Jeffrey swiftly picked her up and carried her inside. We did our best to cool her down, hoping she'd wake up soon. After about a 5-minute, she regained consciousness, confused about what had happened. Nancy accused me of causing her distress, but I assured her I merely revealed the truth. Jeffrey went to get water, and while he was away, I bid farewell to the other guests. Once assured of Nancy's well-being, we prepared for a challenging night ahead to unravel the truth. Upon returning with water, Jeffrey prompted Nancy to share everything she knew. The revelation traced back to a Christmas party a few months ago when Jeffrey, heavily intoxicated, professed his love and made extravagant promises. However, as the details unfolded, it became clear that Jeffrey's pledges were exaggerated and not entirely accurate. Nancy accused him of promising trips and even this house while he was drunk. Jeffrey, initially confused, slowly recollected that night, admitting to making promises but clarifying that the specific details were different. He confirmed mentioning gifts but argued that the house in question was not included in his inebriated pledges. The dispute unfolded, leaving us to sift through the events of that memorable night. Well, I can't recall it clearly, but let me refresh your memory a bit. I hurried upstairs to get the security camera footage, brought it down for Jeffrey to inspect. Evidence from the Christmas party emerged. A heavily intoxicated Jeffrey was making grand promises to his mother, pledging to buy her various things, including a house. Jeffrey's mother questioned if it would be the current house, to which he replied, "Not this house." She insisted on this one, expressing concern for where he and Cheryl would live. Jeffrey suggested another house, but his mother wanted this one. She demanded he put the house in her name, to which Jeffrey reluctantly agreed. Suddenly, Nancy, who had been watching the iPad, looked guilty, like a child caught shoplifting. We asked her to explain herself. Nancy stuttered, revealing that she was aware of the plan all along. Surprisingly, she fainted during the revelation. Quizzing her on the act, we questioned why she pretended to be shocked if she knew the plan. Jeffrey accused her of orchestrating a fainting episode for sympathy and attention. Criticizing her further, he expressed disbelief that she allowed his mother to fall. Frustrated, Jeffrey confronted his mother, accusing her of taking things too far and manipulating people. He accused her of ruining their anniversary for the sake of acquiring the house. Declaring that she would get nothing more from him, Jeffrey removed her from his will. Both Nancy and Jeffrey were stunned. In a shocking turn, Jeffrey kicked his mother out of the house, leaving her flabbergasted by his newfound assertiveness. This departure from his usual groveling shocked her. Jeffrey was fueled by anger and had finally stood up for himself. Faced with disappointment, he bravely decided to ask Nancy to leave our home and remove her from our inheritance. The very next day, he sought advice from family lawyers to make sure this decision was in progress. It was an important move to protect our future and ensure fairness. As time passed, it became clear how upset and desperate Nancy was. She constantly contacted Jeffrey, calling and messaging him without pause, yet Jeffrey remained firm in his choice, dismissing her efforts to control him. He promised to protect me from any harmful actions planned by Nancy or others who posed a threat. Meanwhile, I enjoyed the newly found tranquility and safety within our home. No more did I have to tolerate Nancy's constant company, hurtful comments, or attempts to sabotage our joy. The house transformed into a haven, representing our victory over her deceit. Nancy faced a tough loss, dealing with the consequences of her revealed lies. The home, once under her control, now symbolized her dishonesty, a constant reminder of the consequences she faced for betraying trust. In the larger picture, fairness prevailed. Nancy lost the unwarranted confidence she had, and Jeffrey and I forged ahead, dedicated to constructing a future based on truth, open communication, empathy, love, and trust. Our connection deepened as we navigated and conquered challenges together. As time went by, Nancy's efforts to make amends were met with unwavering silence from Jeffrey. He stayed true to his commitment to shield me, ensuring that we could progress without the lingering influence of her manipulations. Today, our home serves as a comforting sanctuary meant exclusively for us. Every nook preserves the memories of our love and resilience, a perpetual testament to the triumph we achieved. Nancy's existence has dwindled into a distant memory, fading into the background as we embrace the life we've built. Jeffrey's determination to safeguard me remained steadfast. He stood as an unyielding pillar of strength, guarding me against any potential harm that Nancy might still try to impose upon us. He stressed to her, and anyone bold enough to doubt our unity, that we remained resilient as a powerful team. Over time, as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Nancy's attempts to reconcile faded. Slowly, she acknowledged that her dishonesty and harmful motives had permanently created a division between us. The consequences of her choices had a lasting effect on her own life, and she struggled with the harsh aftermath. At the same time, our abode flourished with affection and joy. The injuries caused by Nancy's painful words started to mend, giving way to an ambiance of understanding and encouragement. Jeffrey's steadfast commitment to our well-being was apparent in every gesture and utterance. Collectively, we preserved this haven, a space where we could flourish and evolve, shielded from the negativity of bygone days.